Hello and welcome back to another episode of Shit You Should Know. Today it's just me chatting on my own. I just wanted to share with you the content that I had for the business talk that I did back in August. So this talk I was aiming it at busy professionals, ones who don't have the time or the energy to fit health and fitness into their lifestyle or their busy schedule, without the overwhelm of what diet to go on, how to fit training in and having to do everything perfectly. So just going to start off talking a little bit about our goals. So most of us start off on a fitness journey, we think about our fitness goals. So we might want to lose weight, get stronger, and be generally fitter or whatever that fitness goal is. But what I think a lot of us actually miss is the goal of just being healthier for life or whatever else we actually enjoy and do. Because being healthier and more active will make us more productive, it will give us more energy and can help our mindset with loads of different things and loads of different approaches to the rest of our day and life. So it's not just about being the strongest in the gym, the fittest in the gym or losing the most weight, but it's about how being more active actually sets us up for the rest of the day and the week and the life that we live. For example, if we're running a business and we want to be able to take the business to the next level, if we're running ourselves down, not taking care of ourselves, not being active, not getting enough sleep or eating the right foods, then how can we expect to work more or work better or be inspired to have new ideas and take things to another level if we're just running ourselves down to the ground? Or even if it's something less serious than that, or could be something like we really love music and we want to excel in music. If we never have the time or the energy to then practice that because we don't take care of ourselves, then we're never going to get there because we're just going to be chasing our tail and being exhausted all the time. So being healthy and fit isn't about literally being healthy and fit and trying to achieve those goals, but it's about actually giving us the extra time and the extra energy to do the things that we love doing and to do them more often and for longer, because if we can live for longer, then we can do it more. This also links into like the family life of things as well. So if you're a parent or an auntie or an uncle or a grandma or granddad, like, wouldn't it be great to actually be able to play with the younger generation and not have backaches or pains or be, oh, I can't do this, can't lift that, I can't move. Like, to find simple basic tasks so hard, it can lower our life quality and the experience, the memories that we create. But if we're healthy and more active, we can actually do more things. So it's not just looking at the goals that we want to achieve health and fitness wise, but the goal of life and what we actually want to get out of it, and then how health and fitness can help us achieve those. So thinking now about the time that we actually have, the time that we have to spare so that we can maybe meal prep, get better nutrition or train. A lot of us have busy lives and we're always saying we don't have the time, can't create the time, can't find the time, and it's just not the right time to do any of those things that will help improve our lives. But to be honest, there never will be a right time and we never will have the time if we think that we've got to do everything all at once, and that if we've got to wait for the right time so that we can do it all, it's never going to happen. So because of this, I actually like to highlight that we don't have to do everything all at once. There's kind of 4 areas of health and fitness, if you like, that we can work on, and they don't have to do all 4 at the same time. We can just focus on 1 or 2 and then flip it around to whatever suits. So for example, the 4 areas are exercise, daily movement, nutrition and sleep. So we don't have to get all 4 of these areas perfectly nailed down and down to a T every single day and every single week of our lives. Like, that's not a sustainable or maintainable way of living, and we can't expect that we can achieve that. But what we can do is just aim for at least 1 or 2 of them a day or a week where we can, and make it suit whatever else is going on. So if you find you've got a really busy, chaotic week at work and you just literally will not have the time to go do a workout, get a shower and get ready for the rest of the day or at the end of the day, that's okay. Okay, so exercise is out the window. Don't have time for that. What else can we focus on? Can we focus on just getting that little bit more movement into our day? Can we find opportunities to stand rather than sit? Could we just go for a walk around the block when we get home? So it's literally just 5 minutes before we go sit down or anything. Like, is there anywhere that we can get more movement into our day? If not, that's okay. Let's focus more on nutrition and sleep. So we might not be able to do all the movement side, but let's focus on the nutrition and sleep. Vice versa, maybe you're going away with work and you have less control of your nutrition, then that's a case where we could focus more on the exercise side of it. So maybe we can make an effort to get up earlier or get more movement in, or just focus more on our sleep. So again, it's juggling what area that we actually focus on to suit what is going on with our lives. And we don't have to, again, get all of them done perfectly every single day, every single week. And having this at least one focus in one area more often will allow you to make more of a progression than trying to do all of it or nothing. Because again, it's that approach where we're not having to be 100%, but we're actually being about 60 to 80%. Because if we're 60 to 80%, we can maintain that, and it's still more than 50. So we still will see a change, but it's not as drastic and as rigid as trying to be 100%. So next time you think we don't have the time to do all of it, just think about the time that you do have to do some of it and what area you can focus on. Because even if it's a monthly rotation of 1 week you can exercise, the next week you'd only focus on nutrition, the next week it's only sleep. Like, at least having that one rotation and one focus will make a difference over a month and a year's time and a lifetime. So now that we've discovered a little bit of a way of how to manage the time and manage getting elements of health into it, let's talk a little bit about the energy to actually do so. So we all know those people that seem to have the energy and the motivation to do absolutely everything. They seem to get up at 5 a.m, they get the training done, they have all the meals prepped, they get the 10,000 steps in, and they just seem to be able to do all of it. But then others, or us ourselves, are looking at them and thinking, well, why am I struggling to get up? Why am I struggling to even get anything done? And why at the end of the day am I so physically and mentally drained that I don't want to do anything else? Like, why is it so different? And it can come down to a lot of things, and it's a lot of environmental factors and just physical factors itself. So it could be where we're working, the work job that we're in, or it could be our genetics, our sleep routine, our nutrition, or how much we move each day. But without going on a tangent about all those different things that are quite hard to control, just want to focus mostly on the mindset and motivation around this. Because if you listened to our episodes before, you might have got an idea of our view on motivation, but we see motivation as something that we need to have to be able to do anything, but rarely it's something that we actually create. And we create this by actually doing. So the thing that we're not actually looking for is motivation, but it's taking action. And once we take action, that then leads to motivation. And once we feel motivated after that action, that then makes us take another action, so we feel more motivated, and that cycle continues of us taking action and feeling more motivated. So as an example, you've had a busy day and you finally sit down on the sofa. You've now lost motivation because you're not taking any actions. The next thing you've got to do is go for a run. But for you to go for a run, you've got to turn the TV off, you've got to wash the pots, you've got to get changed, and you've got to go for a run. So you've got to take a lot of actions. And you might think, oh, I'm just not motivated to go for a run. But instead of relying on that motivation to go for a run, swap it round and look at the actions that you've actually got to take to go for a run. So it's not the run itself you've got to do, it's actually getting up from the sofa, turn the TV off, washing any pots up or whatever you need to do, and then getting changed. So instead of seeing it as one big task, break it down and start off with, right, I don't need to go for a run, I just need to get up off the sofa. Then once you get up off the sofa, you'll have that start, that drive, that motivation begins because you've just done something that makes you feel good. So then from there, you go, right, well, what do I need to do next? I need to turn the TV off. So you turn TV off, again, that gives you a buzz, that gives you that motivation. And from there, the action just keep adding up because it's a continual like cue and reward of I'm going to do this and that makes me feel like this. And then as you carry on doing that, you'll find actually you'll end up going for a run and enjoying it, and it gets done. And you've not had to rely on motivation, but you just had to rely on taking action. And it's all well and good saying this, but I actually appreciate as well that sitting on the sofa and getting up can be a task in itself. That can be so hard for a lot of us. So there's a nice little approach that we can do and a bit of self-talk that we can do to help with this. So next time you do find that you are stuck and you just don't want to do something, there's something called the 3-2-1 method. Now, this isn't mine, it's someone in the world made this up, and I can't remember where I've heard it or found it, but it's basically counting yourself into doing something. So again, using that example, you sat on the sofa, you need to get up. Instead of just going, oh, I'll get up in a minute, you actually count yourself down and count yourself in to getting up. So you go, right, 3, 2, 1, I'm going to get up. So you count yourself down, 3, 2, 1, and you get up. Just to actually give yourself that, right, okay, I've said I'm going to do this. When am I going to do it? I'm going to do it now. 3, 2, 1, let's go. And that can help with the start of that action that leads to motivation, that leads to more action, more motivation, and that continual cycle continues. So from this, looking at the mindset and the motivation to having the energy of doing stuff, don't rely on the motivation because that's going to be up and down, all over the place, not often reliable, but rely on the actions that we can take to getting a task done. Because taking action and us actually putting things to action is more reliable, and we don't have to feel motivated, we don't have to be in the mood. We can just go, right, 3, 2, 1, let's crack on, and you can just get on with it. So sometimes it's good to realise that as well, because we don't compare ourselves to other people and think, oh, I need the motivation, why aren't I motivation, and start in that negative self-talk. We actually just realise we can do it, and we just need to take action, and we can all take action, we can do it. So then now we have the time to focus on things, and we have a little bit more of the right mindset and motivation to look at things. Where the hell do we actually start with it all? So if we're on this fat loss, fitness, health journey, and we're working towards the goal that we want, not just about fitness, but in life in general, got the time, got the motivation, where do we start? It's not even something we can Google anymore. It's not like we can just go, I want to be healthier. What 3 things should I do to be healthier? Like the stuff that comes up on Google can be absolute rubbish and often not very useful to us. So things might come up like, should we cut out carbs? Should we go bodybuilder? Should we go keto? Should I become a bodybuilder? How many times do I need to train? Like, there's so many questions and avenues we can go down. Finding where to start is the hardest bit. So starting off with movement, and then I'll talk about nutrition and the other bits, but movement can be split into 2 different things. So with training, movement can be split into 2 different areas. First one is exercise, the second one is just daily movement. So with exercise, we often think that we have to have a specific goal, dedicate our whole life to it, and so for example, train 7 times a week, strength training to get fit and strong. But our goal doesn't have to be focused just on getting fit and strong. We don't have to be so regiment with that. It could be that we actually really enjoy, paddleboarding. And to be better at paddleboarding, it would help us to be stronger, because getting the paddleboard off the roof, carrying it down to the beach, having better balance and general fitness as a whole will make the task, not the task, it made it sound like an effort there, but make the habit and the enjoyment of paddleboarding even more enjoyable, because it's even more doable and our body can cope with it. So looking at ways that we can exercise and realise that we don't have to exercise for that face value and get better at just that, but that can actually complement something that we do enjoy. Another thing, if we enjoyed going for a game of tennis, maybe it'd be better if we had stronger legs, stronger arms, we were more agile, we were fitter. So strength training or any cardio training as well would actually help benefit our habit and enjoyment of playing tennis. So that's the exercise side to it. And remember, it's not about being perfect, it's just about doing something, because even training for 1 hour a week is better than doing no hours. And it's the difference of going from 0 to like 2 to 3 hours a week is massive. But going from 3 hours to like 6, 7 plus, it's not that big of a deal. Like, obviously it will benefit us, but it's not as beneficial as just the small gap that you would actually sorry, not the small gap, but the small jump that you would have made from going from nothing to something. So don't overwhelm yourself with thinking that you have to do loads. Literally just 1 hour, 3 hours, that's great. Anything more is a bonus. Then moving on from the exercise to the daily movement, a lot of us can go into life going, oh, I've went to the gym today, so that's my movement done. Or, oh, I've done my movement for the day, I can sit and rest. But the benefits of movement never really stop. There's a really interesting study actually that I learned at uni where there was 2 groups. Well, there was one group that repeated it twice, but the first group sat down for 6 to 8 hours and didn't move. And then at the end of that sedentary period, they moved for 20 minutes. So obviously there was health benefits of this, of the 20 minutes. But when they then changed the group to doing 2 hours of sitting down and 2 hours of movement for an equivalent of 8 hours in total, they actually found more health benefits and more improvements in resting blood glucose, insulin sensitivity, resting heart rate, cholesterol levels, blood pressure, circulation, concentration. There's so many things that moving for 2 minutes more frequently had, rather than sitting down all day and doing 20 minutes at the end of the day. So I think that really highlights that it's not about what we do, but it's how often we move instead. So a way to apply this to our life is if we are sat at a desk all day or sat in a car or whatever it is, and we're sat down, we're sedentary, just set a timer on our phones for 2 hours, and then whenever that timer goes off, it's literally just get up and move. Like 2 minutes isn't that long. You could get up, walk around the office, or pull over in the car, just walk into a petrol station, get a water bottle and walk back. Like that would easily be 2 minutes. And again, using these breaks, just like I kind of mentioned there, for getting some water or having a piece of fruit or getting some fresh air. Like we can use those 2 minutes to get up, move, maybe stretch to benefit us. Another area that we can improve our movement in is just the way we travel as well. So we're always searching for the perfect parking spot and the closest spot, but why don't we actually just go, I'm all right parking 5 minutes away, I can do a 5-minute walk. And sometimes you might actually realise that saves us time, because so many people are trying to get as close as possible. You end up driving around for ages trying to find the right parking spot. Whereas if you just parked 5-10 minutes away where no one else is parking, you'll get parked quicker and get to your destination by walking, and it's less stressful. Probably don't have to park in as tight the spaces, but yeah, just finding other ways to get more movement in by parking further away and not having to be so efficient, but having to move more to get to the destinations that we want to get to. So then moving on to nutrition as well now. So covered exercise, daily movement. Now nutrition again can be one of those things you can't even Google what is right and where to start. So the approach that I really like to have is to treat ourselves like a child, or to parent ourselves like we would do our own child. So if we had a child, or if we are a child, what would you feed them? Would you feed them crap all day, or would you feed them fruit, veg, proteins? Like, what would you feed them? Just think about it. Because whatever you would feed a child, you've got their best interest in your heart, I would hope anyway. You want them to be healthier, you want them to grow, you want them to have the nutrients to develop into someone, like a body that is healthy, and you want to get them off to the right start. And then for some reason, I don't know when it stops, it must be about 16, 18 when we get a bit more freedom, we stop treating ourselves like a human and forget that we actually still need all those nutrients. Like there's so many people that will coach that say, oh, I've got the fruit and the veg in for the kids, but I just won't have it myself. It's like, well, Why? Like, it's good for you, it's good for your kids. It's like, it's not a habit that you just stop when you get to a certain age. Like, we will always need those nutrients. So treat yourself like a child. Make sure you get don't treat yourself like a child. Parent yourself like you would your own child. That's a better way of wording it. Make sure you have your 3 meals. Make sure you're getting your water. Make sure you're having fruit, vegetables, protein, a balanced life. And make sure you're going to bed as well at the right time. You still got a sleep routine. Like, would you let your child stay up past 10 p.m. when you know they've got to be up early going to school the next day? Like, no. So why is it when we're an adult we suddenly lose all sense of having a routine and caring for ourselves? Another good example of the mindset that we have with children is, if a child's good and they have an ice cream and it's a nice little treat, it's not detrimental to the health. We don't go, oh, you've been bad, child, you've had an ice cream, now we're gonna have to put you on a diet, or now you're gonna have to go for a run, or well, now you've undone all the healthy things you've done this week because you've just had an ice cream. Like, we don't say that to children. It's just an ice cream. We enjoy it and crack on with our lives and continue with the good habits. So why is it when we're then an adult we see those foods and think, oh God, I've messed everything up? It's like, no, it's just a food. It's just one little minor part of our week. It's not done anything. It's now how you view yourself and the actions that you take afterwards that will probably make the biggest difference. So to keep nutrition short, the best way to approach it is to parent yourself like you would your own child. So think about all these things as well then. I don't want to keep this too long. Thinking about all these things, it sounds like there's a lot to do, a lot to think about, and a lot to put into play. But the best way to approach it all is to know that health and fitness is never a destination, but it's a journey. Oh, that's all a bit very deep. But it never ends. We never reach health and fitness, so we've never got to the top of it and achieved it. It's something that we're always continually working towards. So it's not about mastering all the things that we need to do to get there. It's just about continually practicing the things that are worth practicing, like getting fruit and veg in, getting our protein, water, sleep, exercise, movement, just practicing those habits and accepting that it's not going to be perfect, aiming for 60 to 80% perfection, if you like, and embracing the failure, like in quotation, failures and the things that go wrong, because if we want to grow, there are going to be mistakes or things that aren't going perfectly, but that's okay and we can learn from them. And just because we're learning from them doesn't mean that we can't do it again, or that if we do it again we've failed even further because, oh, I should have learned from this before. It's different because there's so many factors that influence our health and fitness that a small failure is never really a failure. It's just something that's happened, and our bodies are quite good at sorting themselves out, that we don't need to worry about a failure. Like, I'm not going to go down that tangent. But yeah, so it's not about mastering everything, but it's about practicing the right things and just keeping on top of it. Don't overwhelm ourselves with trying to be perfect. It's a really good thing actually about understanding these things that we are practicing and knowing that knowing the benefits of the things that we need to practice. Because if we don't know why we're doing something, or there's no purpose to doing something, it's basically torture. There's a really good example of the Greek myth story. I don't know really what to call it. But there was one of the stories is that there's a guy that has to push a boulder up a hill, and then when it gets to the top it's just pushed back down, and then he has to just roll it back up again, well, push it back up just for it to be rolled back down. Like, there's no purpose to that task, there's no reward, there's no benefit. It's literally just a task that is having to be repeated monotonously, and like I say, there's no reward for it. So if we have no purpose for doing something, there's no benefit of doing something, then we're not going to want to do it. But if we understand the benefit and we do have a purpose, then we're more likely to want to do it and to stick to it. and going to keep practicing it. And if we fail, we'll pick it back up and just keep going. So for example, with salads, okay, they might not be the most amazing food on earth, but we can make them taste good. But it's not about us loving salads and them being our favourite, but it's about appreciating the benefits of them and the purpose of them. Like, salads are a great source of loads of fibre, loads of nutrients, loads of really great foods. So if we're having those, it'll improve our gut health, and our gut health will improve our brain health, it will improve our mindset, and obviously all the nutrients from the vegetables themselves is good for us. So it's not about having the salad itself, but it's about having the benefits that come from the salad. So if we have that same approach to other things like exercise, then we're more likely to want to do it. Like, imagine if we was exercising and there were no benefits to exercise. Like, that legit would be torture. But because there are benefits to exercise, it makes it worth doing, because we know it's helping our body and it's not just time spent, getting really out of breath and hurting ourselves essentially. So yeah, appreciating the benefits and the purpose of what we're doing and why we're doing it can help us stick to those actions, keep practicing them without feeling that we have to master it and get everything perfect. So I think I'll actually wrap that up there as well. I don't want to ramble on too long. So how am I going to wrap this up? So what we've talked about time management, knowing that we don't need to practice everything at the same time. We can practice one area at a time, the area that we can fit into that time that we have available, and this can swap daily or weekly. Just as long as we've got one kind of focus on our health, it's better than having no focus at all. Then with movement doesn't have to be just exercise. It can be our daily movement, just moving more throughout the day and breaking up sedentary periods. And the exercise that we do doesn't have to be so serious. It can be something that we really enjoy. And if we can benefit to something that we really enjoy by doing another element of training, most of the time strength training, mobility, general fitness, then that'd be great too. And then with our mindset, making sure we don't rely just on motivation, but we appreciate that motivation comes from action, and to use the 3-2-1 method to create action and create that motivation to then crack on and do the things that we want to do. And then also, I was just thinking then, also having the practice approach and not having to master everything all the time, and making sure we understand the benefits and the purpose behind what we're doing so that we can stick to things and actually achieve our goals. So I hope that does help you figure out ways to incorporate health and fitness into a busy schedule, into a schedule that we never feel like we have time to do anything, or the energy to do anything, or even the motivation. So if you have found it helpful, or if you have any questions, please let me know, because I'd love to hear your thoughts and how this has hopefully benefited you and how you've seen value in it. And if you'd like to know more about the coaching that we do at Unit 1, then also please get in touch as well. We actually have the New You Challenge starting on the 26th of September. So this is a 12-week challenge to creating a healthier, more active version of yourself. So it's not about 12 weeks, go in all out and turn our lives upside down into a way that we can't maintain, but it's actually about building better habits, building a better mindset, and a lifestyle that after the 12 weeks we can actually maintain and continue with. So 12 weeks will actually take us up to the week before Christmas as well, so everyone can actually just enjoy the Christmas period, not have to think they've gone off the diet or ruin the progress, but throughout the 12 weeks will help you realise that you can just enjoy Christmas, and it's not about having to go off the wagon and starting again in January. So yeah, it's a really good thing to stay accountable to and committed to over the winter periods, over the winter month. And so if you'd like to know more, just get in touch and let us know that you want to get in touch. I don't know what I'm saying. All right, I'm going to go off now before I carry on rambling. Thank you for listening, and catch you next time.